Today I'll be talking about Buddhist meditation. Okay, in Pali called bhavana. So basically, this consists of samatha or concentration or tranquility meditation versus another type called vipassana. That's what we did. That we've been doing insight meditation. Basically, in Buddhism, these are the two foundational types of meditation. Form the bedrock of practice. The first one, called samatha, or calm abiding, or tranquility meditation, focus on developing mental concentration and inner peace, involved mainly through mindfulness sati. And basically, practitioner concentrates on a single object, often the breath or mantra or visual image. It helps quiet the mind and prepare it for deeper insight. Ideally, it's for beginners seeking stability and focus. By itself, it doesn't lead to enlightenment. So the second type that we did is called vipassana, insight meditation. We're aiming to cultivate self-awareness, sampajanya, as well as mindfulness, sati. The sati or mindfulness sees phenomena or retrieve phenomena. The self-awareness is investigate or wisdom in action, investigate the phenomena to gain deeper understanding of reality or insight. So build on steady mind or samadhi, developed through anchoring or embedding, not fixating on an object, such as breath or body movement like we did. So that's why I keep saying, don't fixate your mind, your hand. If you fixate your mind and become samatha or tranquility or concentration meditation, you just anchor or chaining, but it's loose. Uh, you can still observe things with self-awareness around you, not fixating not on an object, such as same thing. You can do breath movement, body movement, breath body movement, and so on. So involve observing thoughts, sensation, and emotion as they arise, or the called four foundations of mindfulness. And you gain insight into impermanence, imperfection, selflessness, or not self, the three universal marks of existence. Together, this practice uh, guide the mind towards liberation and enlightenment. So samatha, or the concentration, meditation, steady the mind, while vipassana, or insight meditation, sharpens its clarity, like polishing a mirror, and then using it to see the true nature of things as they really are, truthfully. Sometimes this is called, when you go deeper, it's called jhana or mental absorption, but different type of jhana. The first one, that tranquility or samatha meditation, or concentrated meditation, sometimes called Aramanupanijjhana. So object object scrutinizing jhana, concentration on mental object, is basically, again, meditative absorption, focus on the object, or concentration or tranquility meditation. So this is related to developing tranquility or samatha, a concentrated mind. In this type of meditation, the focus is placed and fixated on a single object, such as breath, to cultivate calmness and stillness of the mind. It can lead to 8 samadhi or samadhi, ecstatic meditation. These are the highest state, that attaining of pure exaltation through deep meditation, namely that 4-form jhana with a form divine jhana, the form divine realm, the 4 levels, and 4 formless jhana of formless divine realm that we talked about previously. It's cultivated through sati, mindfulness, but lack self-awareness or sampajanya. Therefore, no wisdom. And by itself, it will not lead to enlightenment. We'll go into detail in the next slide. And the second type is called Lakkhanopanijjhana, characteristic examining jhana, deep absorption into that, concentration on characteristic, that means insight meditation. Like we talk about the mundane and supramundane path. This is supramundane path, the 4 path lead to stream enterer, once returner, non-returner, and the Arahant, the full enlightenment, and the 4 fruition. So the consequence of the 4 path, the 4 levels. And this is called vipassana or insight meditation. It's called Lakkhanopanijjhana because it observing all conditional nature being embedded with the 3 universal characteristics, 3 marks of existence, impermanence, imperfection, selflessness, and not self. So 4 path is called Lakkhanopanijjhana because it makes vipassana successful. And 4 fruition is called Lakkhanopanijjhana, same name, because it focuses on nirvana with one of the characteristics of sunyata, emptiness, based on selflessness or not self, animitta, or silence, based on impermanence, or niccang, upanihita, or desireless, based on imperfection. And because it sees the true nature of nirvana in different 3 nature of that, either through emptiness, silence, or desireless. And these 2 types of jhana are found in the later teaching in the commentaries, in the Atthakatha, not the original text from the Buddha. Came later on. They try to explain it in more detail. So we go into samadhi. So samatha, not samadhi. Samatha, or concentration, meditation. The first type, basically your mind focus and absorb into a mental object. So mind and mental object became one. You see, like you being fixated on the mental object, like you tie the mind to the pole, to this post. Your mind and the mental object are one. And it's like with sati, mindfulness, but no self-awareness, no sampajanya, and so no enlightenment. There's no wisdom arise from that. But your mind gets concentrated very well on that. And you can bring on samabhat, which is some mental power on that. You can have divine eyes, divine ears, and see, read other people's minds, so on. And just like when you're shining a flashlight, only one stream of light, very or laser light, very strong, one point into one direction. You only see one thing, which is the mind and the mental object become one together. But on the contrary, vipassana is like insight meditation. Basically, the mind play a major role, like a main actor here. Your mind is chaining to a mental object, like could be your breath or on the hand movement. You're seeing true nature of things with sati, mindfulness, and sampajanya, self-awareness, or wisdom in action. It can lead you to enlightenment. So in this, it's like your lighthouse that your mind is anchoring with an fundamental object like the island there that the lighthouse stood there, but the mind is the main actor there, shining a light in all directions. Or like a light in the parking lot there that shines a light in all directions. It anchors with the pose there on the mental object. That could be your breath or the hand movement. So your mind played a main acting role there, shining a light. You see in all, everything around you, not in one direction, like with a flashlight with samatha or concentration meditation. Or another example is like a dog being chained with mental object, which is the post, but he's not being wrapped around or tied down like samatha. His dog can walk around with the length of the chain. So the mind doesn't escape from the post, but yet it can see everything around you. So any burglar coming in and so on, this mind will be observing any sneaky thought that's coming by. So some people like with the hand movement, you have the pose instead of the pose, you have a whole string that this chain can run around that chain, that rope or that wire there. So the chain can slide back and forth there. So it's more loose and has more flexibility. So the mind played a major role with self-awareness. And then the mindfulness kind of chain you there at the mental object, while the self-awareness guarding the mind and observe and catch all those sneaky thoughts and so on. It's like you play a musical chair, mindfulness chain you there, put you in the chair. So mindfulness basically engage um, in only one mental object at a time. Mind can only engage in one mental object. You can't think of two things at one time. It might be sequential, but at one point your mind can engage in one mental object. So one is aware with sati or mindfulness, then unawareness disappear. Or in Thai it's called rutua, or self-awareness. When you have self-awareness, unawareness disappear. ไม่รู้ตัวหรือหลง or kind of delusion disappear. Just like when the king is on the throne, instead of roaming around like deer hunting and so on in the old days. So the king was put on the throne with mindfulness, and then he can rule with self-awareness or wisdom in action. So securing the fort, so no enemies there attacking the fort. So supposed to be governing with your wisdom to protect the form. So the mind is the main actor there. Can observe all the mental object or your thoughts, sneaky thought that run around. Like each thoughts, like each card that passing by, your mind can catch all those thoughts and so on. Why it's so important? Because so use insight meditation to see the true nature of things. Just like Luang Por Tien would say, forget the front, อย่าเอาข้างหน้า watch the back เอาตัวหลัง basically you don't embed yourself, your mind on the screen like the actor or actress playing the role. You observe the projector of your mind that shine out in different sneaky thoughts and so on. So you catch all the biased thoughts that arise. So mind play a major role in being there, and like from the projector. By chaining the mind to a mental object, could be anything that steady the mind, but not fixating. Seeing the true nature of things as with impermanence, imperfection, selflessness, with sati, mindfulness, retrieve a phenomenon, see what's on the screen, and sampajanya, self-awareness, or wisdom action to see what is playing on the screen. You don't need to anticipate, and you don't need to engage or indulge into what is shown on the screen, and not intervening of what's going to be shown on the screen. You just catch our thoughts and let it pass. So why is important? Because why do we suffer? We suffer our own biased thoughts, which embedded with greed-headed delusion, which is not the true nature of your mind. Mind itself, the Buddha said, is luminous, but tainted with transitory mental impurities. Transitory means it's something that passed by, but it home in you. You didn't expel it out. They decide to home in with you. So you thought everything is permanent, perfect, and yours. In fact, it's just impermanent, imperfect, and selfless in nature, or not self in nature. But the true nature of the mind is the mind is pure, luminous. But those are but transitory mental impurities that taint your mind with greed-headed delusion and make you suffer of those bad thoughts, sneaky thoughts. So you need to get rid of those transitory guests that you invite them in, but they never left. So this is because unawareness. You're being trapped in the biased thoughts, like a cage with a biased thought, being caged with that. So with awareness, you can basically empty all those thoughts. Can liberty, everyone can access that. Can clear your mind, empty the mind to the pure mind. So just to summarize, this insight meditation, that's what we did. Or vipassana means to see things as they really are. It's a method of mental purification through self-observation. This was rediscovered by and taught by the Buddha over 2,600 years ago. And so it is one of the most ancient meditation techniques. It's only unique to Buddhism. Samatha, or concentration meditation, was there before the Buddha time. Even in reality, the Buddha rediscovered this. But there'll be a period of eon of dark age with no Buddha. then people just do tranquility concentration meditation until another Buddha arrived who rediscovered this truth about insight, vipassana meditation, and gain this self-awareness of wisdom in action to catch a sneaky thought and free you from suffering. So unlike concentration-based practice that aim to still the mind by focusing on a single object, vipassana or insight meditation is a form of insight meditation that uses sustained awareness with this self-awareness to observe the changing nature of the mind and body. This process leads to a direct experiential understanding of the three universal truths of impermanence, unstable, imperfection, unbearable, and not selfless in nature, uncontrollable. So Buddha stated, all phenomena are not worth clinging to. You can practice this 24/7 meditation beyond what we practice formally. In this, observe these four foundations of mindfulness with mindful awareness, like dynamic meditation. We move all the time. You don't have to move in the prototype, but any simple daily movement, you can embed mindfulness there and you can gain self-awareness all day long because we move all day long. That's why to cultivate self-awareness, which is wisdom in action, and mindfulness that retrieve phenomena, sees phenomena there. So mindfulness, self-awareness can come in, wisdom in action come to investigate. Do it with perseverance, a constant effort. You can do while you're awake 24/7. As we move, you just simply acknowledge the movement, embed mindfulness in the movement, gain self-awareness. At the body, feeling, mind, mental phenomena, four aspects of life that we all do all day. To get rid of desiring and non-desiring nature that arise at the body, feeling, mind, mental phenomena. And you can come with the wisdom that arises when your mind is concentrated, see things clearly, come to witness with wisdom in the three universal marker systems, the true nature of things as we really are, unstable, unbearable, uncontrollable, impermanent, imperfect, and selfless in nature. Lead to insight wisdom that see the burden. Every time you cling to things, become your own burden of clinging. You become disenchanted, discerned, dispassionate, and liberated and released from suffering. And that's it. Any question?
Yeah, that dog. You know the dog that was up there?
It's Shane.
And it had the word mind on it. Was he born like that, or did someone paint him?
You can train him.
He trained mind.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not born to God. You need to train. Yes. Gauge.
Cage.
Oh, the cage. Oh, you like that one?
And an airplane coming out of it.
I don't know. It go back.
I don't know. I can think of
Okay.